Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another night of Hit the Ropes Radio. It is I, Shane Howard, joined by none other than Courtney Mack. What up?
Yo, Shane, what up, man?
Not much, man. We are here after a big half week of professional wrestling.
Yep.
Wait, that was me. Okay. Like, why am I repeating myself? Okay. So we are here in a big half week of wrestling. We've had an action-packed Monday Night Raw. We had a go-home show for TLC on Smackdown. Folks who are probably joining us now probably just finished watching an episode of NXT or Lucha Underground. And there was last night's premiere of 205 Live. So there's lots of different wrestling flavors in just 3 days of the week. But I want to start chronologically. So let's start Monday night. We've got Monday Night Raw. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. The women, Charlotte and Sasha Banks, were having another title match between the two. Mm-hmm. This one not on TV. And this one was in Charlotte, which is Charlotte's hometown. But earlier in the night, we saw Cedric Alexander, who's also from the area. He lost his match. We know that people in their hometowns don't generally win in the WWE. So when you initially saw Cedric Alexander lose his match, and we're getting ready for this main event between Sasha and Charlotte, did you already think that Charlotte was going to lose the match?
No, I actually had no expectation of Charlotte losing the match at all. I was actually pretty shocked, but not for the reasons why a lot of people who So a lot of people are mad at the finish because they talk about how how they shot the title back to Sasha so fast and blah 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 blah. But I actually am enjoying that aspect of the feud. I didn't think Charlotte was going to lose. I thought Charlotte was going to win, and that was kind of going to be the end for them for a while. But man, it was to me it was the best match in their series.
All right. Well, you jumped and let everybody know that Charlotte, of course, lost the title. I was supposed to be talking about Cedric Alexander, wasn't I? No, I was asking. I just wanted to know your answer to that first part, and whether or not, seeing that Cedric lost his match in his hometown, if you automatically were going towards Charlotte losing in her hometown. But you stated that you didn't expect her to lose the title.
Right.
But let's talk about that match. You said that it was perhaps the best match in their series in your estimation. So what now? Because Charlotte lost, and this wasn't a pay-per-view. We have Roadblock a few weeks away.
Hold on. Roadblock, end of the line.
Thank you. Because I think there was a Roadblock pay-per-view earlier this year already, right?
Yep.
Okay. So do we see these ladies wrestle again?
Man, I don't see how I see how we can, but I just don't, because they've had what, 17 matches since they both came up against each other. I think while they put on great matches, and like I said, I think this past Monday's was the best one in the series, I think they need to give us, give the universe a break from those two for right now. Not saying, keep Charlotte out the title picture, but I'm thinking like maybe, she can move more towards a feud with Bayley, or maybe move Bayley into the title picture, and maybe we see Nia Jax get some main event women shine. So I don't see how you can do that match again, because I think it'll be a little too much, and I think that would be a way to get the crowd very disinterested in another match between them two. Gotta let it breathe. It's like how they're kind of letting Roman Reigns breathe for a while before they moved him back as a title picture. We need to let Charlotte breathe for a while.
I mean, I think these ladies have been on the roster about 16 months, something like that. They've each won the title. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think 3 times each in the 16 months that they've been on the main roster. That's a lot of back and forth. That's almost Attitude Era-esque. Which back in the day, people were loving that because they never knew when somebody was going to lose the title. It was always must-see TV because somebody was bound to lose the title, whether it was the hardcore title or the European title. And now we're seeing this with these women. But I agree with you. It is a lot. And we need to see these ladies, separate for a bit. Because I thought, with this main event, I really didn't think Charlotte was going to lose. And I thought perhaps we would see an interference from Nia Jax, and that would cause Sasha to lose, because there was a bit of an altercation previously with Nia Jax and Sasha Banks.
Right.
So I was thinking that would be the out. That would be how Charlotte wins, keeps her title. She's the heel. The heel, kind of tend to win, I guess, in their hometown, because the good guys always lose in their hometown.
Yep.
So it would be very heelish for the heel to win in their hometown. So I thought this would be the out. Maybe Sasha and Nia start feuding. I don't know what they do with Charlotte. I wouldn't go so quickly to throw Bayley into the title picture. Not into a title match.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like now speaking of hometown, I'll be honest, I was surprised. So Cedric Alexander got a nice pop on Monday, and it was good to see that. And I've been, a lot of people on Twitter have been kind of critical of the cruiserweights. I've been loving the cruiserweights because that was actually that was my favorite part of WCW back in the day. But I was kind of shocked because at first I didn't know he was from Charlotte. But then when I heard the pop when he came out, and then the crowd was chanting his name, I was like, all right, Sid. But then he lost, and I was like, oh man. But you know how WWE does. But like I said, Charlotte was truly, losing was truly a shock. I was surprised they let them go into the crowd. Sasha was working with that kendo stick. Like I said, I think it was the best match in their series, but we don't need to see Charlotte Sasha until at least WrestleMania. After WrestleMania, again, that's my opinion, because you have two. I look at what SmackDown is doing. You see, SmackDown is having 2 women's feuds going on at once in a 2-hour show, and it seems like Raw only has 1 hour. One women's feud. Even though it's a really good feud, but they only have 1 feud going at the time. I mean, right now. I just think we need something fresh. We need something new. So,
right. I'm in total agreement there with Raw needing to do something with their ladies, because we're just all sitting back, and that goes for the ladies on their roster. Thank God Alicia Fox has somebody to be pining after, so she can get some camera time. Alicia Fox apparently is only good for being somebody's love interest. I'm surprised she's not planning somebody's wedding again. But yeah, they definitely need to do something with their ladies on Raw. SmackDown seems to be on the right track when it comes to the ladies. But you brought up Cedric Alexander and the cruiserweights before I get to SmackDown, I know I said I was going to go chronologically, and SmackDown did come on before 205 Live. I want to talk about the Cruiserweight show, 205 Live, because Rich Swann, I always want to call him Rich Homie Swann. Rich Swann had his match on Raw to set up the match between him and Brian Kendrick last night. He finally got to talk in the ring. It was kind of a weird sounding promo because Rich Swann, isn't like the greatest promo guy. His delivery and his voice is kind of weird. Like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But then they had their match, and I viewed the match earlier today before the show. I already knew the outcome because I happened to go on Twitter at the wrong time.
Right.
But it was an enjoyable match. Rich Swann is now the new Cruiserweight champion, and I'm fine with that. But before I get to your thoughts on him as champion, first, what are your thoughts on the 205 Live concept?
I like it. I like a show dedicated to the Cruiserweights. That way, we don't just see them on Raw as fodder for Braun Strowman, and we actually can see these guys develop their own personality, develop their characters. So I like, even though I plan on watching last night's episode tonight after the show because I didn't watch it. That ain't NXT. But I really like the concept. I'm looking forward to good things from the Cruiserweights.
Well, I watched the show, and it's bringing back CWC memories for me, and I'm wondering if them doing this will translate at all, because we saw the awesomeness that was the Cruiserweight Classic, but then the Cruiserweights make their appearance on WWE main roster, and the crowd, for the most part, sits on their hands until somebody does a big move or whatever not. I'm just wondering if this is going to be the same thing. Like, yes, those people who have the network, they will go and view it. They will possibly enjoy it, much like they did it with the CWC. But the majority, the masses, the casual fans, will they just still sit back and say, "Oh, it's these Cruiserweight guys? Yeah, they do some nice stuff. We'll just sit back and wait until they do that nice stuff, and then we'll cheer. And after that, we'll just wait for the next segment."
Right. So I think one of the things that they have kind of going against them is the fact that live, seeing all the fast pace of the action, live may throw the crowd off until there's a big spot. I'm not sure. It's probably a lot better to watch on TV because I've never seen. I think I saw in all the wrestling events that I've been to, only the closest thing I've been to a Cruiserweight match was a X Division Championship match a couple years ago when TNA was here, and that was really cool in person. But it's like if you watching and these guys are like just flying across the TV screen back and forth, and I gotta imagine that a lot of fans find that a little hard to keep up with live. Just the casual fans that are just there like, oh, I got these tickets to Monday Night Raw. Let's check out some wrestling. I thoroughly enjoyed, like I said, the Cruiserweights. So I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I'm just hoping that it works out because we do get a little bit more from these guys, because before their matches we tend to get a little vignette. They'll have some talking moments backstage or in the ring, and Austin Aries was on commentary. I'm not sure if this is a weekly thing. I was watching it but I wasn't so much listening to the commentary to find out if he's going to be there every week.
Because he's out of action for a couple of months, right?
Right. So it's kind of like how Daniel Bryan, when he was put on the shelf, he was doing the commentary. We've seen in the past CM Punk, he sat in on commentary. So I'm all for that. I'm an Austin Aries fan, and he'll bring a different viewpoint with his heelish ways. So I'm all for that. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that this does the trick, because these cruiserweights need a little bit of depth. And, I guess when it comes to Cedric Alexander, the WWE feels that the way that they're going to develop his character is make him a love interest of somebody. Hey, if it works, sure. I'm pretty sure Cedric Alexander didn't need that to get over, but if it works, I'm glad to see him on TV, and I'm glad to see Alicia Fox on TV.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead.
Oh no. Our boy Stokes does not care for
Rich Swann.
Rich Swann, because he dances too much. I like Rich Swann. I like his characters because if you look at Rich Swann and compared to like all the other cruiserweights, the only ones that really seem like they have any kind of personality right now are he and Brian Kendrick. I didn't really like this version of Brian Kendrick because he was more like a whiner. Like on commentary on Monday night, he was just so whiny. Like it was unbearable. But it was good for his character. But I don't mind Rich Swann because he has a character. So, and he has personality. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with the belt. I'm wondering if they're gonna like maybe play hot potato with the cruiserweight belt, kind of like they used to do with the hardcore belt back in the day. I hope not, but it's something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Rich Swann, as the cruiserweight champ.
They're seeming to focus not only on Swann, Kendrick, TJ Perkins, and Brian. I said Kendrick, but they're also giving some focus to Tony Nese and Drew Gulak. Those two guys seem to be forming a little tag team of their own, and they're seeming like the cruiserweight best buds. They're like the dare I say Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho of the cruiserweights, minus the popularity and a title.
Right now, I remember I gave about a month ago. I gave Tony Nese my star of the week, but I kind of like, because you see Drew Gulak is like really technical. I'm hoping that they can like put them together as a tag. So one of the things I'm hoping for is we get some cruiserweight tag teams that actually kind of challenge for the tag team titles. Not saying I want to see the New Day drop the titles, but that's what I'm hoping for, because it gives more variety and more ways to use those guys.
I hope the New Day drops the title, but we're not going to stay on there. So let's now move on. Let's move on to SmackDown, because that was the go-home show for this upcoming pay-per-view. We had an in-ring segment between AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and James Ellsworth. It started out funny, in the sense, not so much that you at home might be laughing, but it started out where they're going for funny. And then AJ Styles attacks, lays out Dean Ambrose, and then he obliterates James Ellsworth. That Styles clash off the stairs was awesome in its heinousness. But I want to ask you, why are we still doing? I know we had this guy on the show and all of that, but do you think that the James Ellsworth thing has gone on too long?
I'll say no, because it has a purpose. It's had a purpose in the main event. You know, he's Dean Ambrose's best bud, so it's not like he's just there, kind of like, you know, Hornswoggle. He has a purpose, and he actually has something to do with the main event. You know, he beat AJ Styles 3 times already, and Dean Ambrose, excuse me, is kind of using that to his advantage to get into Styles' head. So I don't. It's not overused. I don't mind it. I really don't mind it.
Like I was a big fan of the guy. You know, I was happy to get him on the show. It was a great story. You know, everything was butterflies and flowers and everything. But I kept waiting for them to pull the plug and have this guy turn on Dean Ambrose, you know, align himself somehow, some way, find himself aligned with AJ Styles, you know, screw the crowd over because he was so hot that, you know, he reached that peak that there was nowhere to go but down. And I thought that if they were to do something like that, it would have been, you know, like this holy shit moment.
Mm-hmm.
But they never did, and now we're still having this guy more like a mascot.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, you know, it's ran its course. John in the chat room is saying that he feels it's gone on way too long. And Hot Dog is saying that he hopes that the storyline ends after this Sunday. But this is a guy who's held, 3 wins over the current world title holder? I mean, I would think that he still finds a way in there somehow, some way, knowing the WWE.
Right. So I think with AJ destroying him last night, I don't think we'll see him Sunday. I think that was kind of like WWE's way of kind of like writing Ellsworth out of the picture for right now. Hopefully he shows up again on 205 Live and Smackdown too, because I mean, WWE always used to have these characters, and they don't have, like, you know, those funny, those go-to for a joke characters, and that's what James Ellsworth is. Kind of like how Hornswoggle used to be until they, you know, added him in these ridiculous storylines, you know, being Vince's son and all that, popping up out of cakes and all that, you know. But so I don't mind Ellsworth as much because, like I said, I think he has a purpose and he has a fit into the main storyline. So
I disagree with you saying that you think he's being written off for a while because of the attack, because AJ Styles told him, show up, TLC. Yeah. He did tell him to show up. I have something planned for you. So I feel that, you know, with this guy, they're probably going to have, knowing the WWE and Vince's humor, they're probably going to have this guy come out all casted up, you know, with Tiny Tim's crutch and all of this, you know, and he's going to try to do something stupid. I just feel that something is going to happen. And the only way I'll be satisfied is if he does that foolishness and finds a way to screw Dean Ambrose, because I'm not looking forward to a Dean Ambrose title reign again. Yeah. So if he can come out and, you know, have the crowd be all sympathetic towards him and then find a way to hit Dean Ambrose with that crutch or something like that, make him fall off the ladder, then A-okay, because Dean Ambrose has kind of been a jerk to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, so I hope Dean Ambrose doesn't win. I mean, I'm not a Dean Ambrose fan. Like, he is, you know, it annoyed me when he teamed up with Reigns and Rollins on the pay-per-view, but you know, you knew that was going to happen. But I don't know, man. He needs if it's anybody that needs a character invention in WWE right now, it's Dean Ambrose. I mean, take your pick. Dean Ambrose needs a character refresh more than anybody. Because, it started off as he started off as like the kind of crazy, like greaser. Then he went to this insane psychopath. Now he's like Austin Light, but tells corny jokes. I mean, now he can talk. He can, but he's just, oh my goodness. He's just I just don't like Dean Ambrose. It's just, he makes my skin crawl.
All right. Well, we'll talk. We'll make your skin crawl a little bit more later because we're gonna get now to the pay-per-view preview as we run down the matches. And
now, one more thing on Dean. I think he would actually be, with his look, he would actually be a perfect fit for the Wyatts. He would. I think so.
I think the whole comedy stuff taints that for me.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So let's go on, and we're gonna go through the current matches that are scheduled for this pay-per-view. Now, of course, the WWE will probably have TLC be like an 8-hour long show with a 5-hour pre-show and 2 pre-show matches. But
it's only 4 matches on the card I'm seeing.
No. There are 6 currently.
Okay.
So let's go through these matches, and I'm going to ask, your thoughts on them. Not necessarily your picks, because, we have to get our pay-per-view picks in, but, you might need to do some extra research.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's start with the tag team championship match. We've got Heath Slater and Rhino going up against Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, who were able to defeat American Alpha last night on Smackdown.
And a very good match, by the way.
It was. I do agree. What are your thoughts here on this tag title match?
I like I actually, because I was like, man, what is up with Randy and Bray? But watching them, they have good chemistry. They psychologically played off of each other last night. And grounded American Alpha in in the exact same way. I didn't get it at first, but I actually kind of like it. I hope they don't stop the Rhino and Heath wave, already, but I think they are. Because you got to do something with Bray Wyatt. You have to do something with Bray Wyatt, and you have to do something with Randy Orton. They're 2 of the top stars on SmackDown, so you can't just have them languish as just some scary psychological tag team. And it's time for them to shit or get off the pot with Bray Wyatt. That's my opinion. But I like him because it's not like he's not like Randy's leader. And you can see this from the promo. They're kind of like Bray kind of like treats Randy like his equal. And then Harper came in. He was like, Harper, go sit. Why? Speaking of that, why is Luke Harper losing to Kane on SmackDown? Why is Luke Harper losing to Kane on SmackDown? But I think it's because they're gonna break the Wyatt family up and just keep. Maybe Harper turns on Bray. I hope not, but maybe they do. They tease some tension like that. As a way of signifying, like, yeah, we're probably going to break them up a little bit. But I don't know. But so I don't want to say I think it's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing the match, but I don't think it's going to be like one of the standout matches on the card. So I'm not going to give you my pick yet, or do you want my picks?
I don't. I don't.
Okay. Okay. What do you think about the match?
Well, you brought up because there's a lot of things right here that I have some things with. First of all, the match last night between Randy, Bray, and the American Alphas, as you said, good match. But I'm just kind of wondering what the WWE plans on doing with American Alpha, because when they first came up, they were like the it tag team, and they were looking like the team that was going to be leading SmackDown. We got the Heath Slater title win, which is great because it was a great feel-good story, and he got kids. So I'm all for the man being able to support his family.
Yep.
But there was a feud between the Alphas and the Usos, and now we don't see any interaction between them.
Right. It's kind of like WWE. Sometimes it seems like they can't have like more than one feud going on in every division at the same time, almost. Because you got 2 feuds going on in the women's division on SmackDown, plus AJ and Dean. Then the only other feud you really have is I guess SmackDown is different from Raw in that respect because you have Kalisto and Baron Corbin, and you have Miz and Dolph Ziggler. So, Raw, but I don't get why they stopped they kind of just forgot about it, just the Usos, and I enjoy, the new look Usos. I enjoy the personality. But I think they need to do something with American Alpha as far as not having them just be there, And I was talking to Stokes last night. If you listen to their promo, they kind of cut they didn't cut a heel promo, but how their cockiness and their arrogance is almost heel like if you pay attention to it, which I like, by the way.
Well, when I listened to their promo, I wasn't listening for any heelish things. I was just realizing just how scripted that they sound. I would like them to be a little bit more natural with their promos. I was just like, this is so cheesy that it's just screams scriptedness.
Yeah. But another thing, a lot of people don't do is if you looked at Jason Jordan's facial expressions, it was kind of come on, man, we're the best, to me they're so cocky, it's borderline heelish as far as not like Kevin Owens cocky, but they cocky and they can back it up. But I'm not saying I want to see a character change because they're kind of fresh. I kind of hope that they would have the belts, but I think the fact that Heath Slater was so over kind of postponed those plans.
All right. Well, we kind of got off on a tangent talking more about American Alpha, who does not have a match so far. But yeah, I was having an issue with that, and then with the Randy Orton Bray Wyatt situation, I get why they're being thrown in there. They were the surviving 2 for the Team SmackDown on Survivor Series, so I get they were granted a shot. They're gonna get their title match. Great, no problem with that. However, I don't know. I want to see Heath and Rhino drop the title, but I'm just not so thrilled about it possibly going to Bray and Randy, because I'm still not sure where this team is going. Is Randy lying in the wait, trying to play the cerebral assassin and turn on Bray at some point? Or is he actually into this whole Bray Wyatt thing? I don't know. There's so many questions for me when it comes to Bray and Randy. You know, and then Luke Harper. You ask, why is Luke Harper losing to Kane on Smackdown? Who the hell knows? But it's mind-boggling.
Why is Kane still on SmackDown? Why does Kane still? I get it. He's a good worker, but let the young guys shine.
Kane's just there until he's ready to run for office.
Yeah.
But I feel with him losing and all of this, Randy's just trying to continue to drive a wedge, because you saw Randy giving orders to Luke, and then Bray sided with Randy, and Luke was not very pleased with that. I see it kind of like, if anybody watches Gotham, it's kind of like the whole Penguin, Butch, and Riddler triangle, where Butch loved Penguin so much that he was willing to try to get some guys to kill Riddler.
Right.
You're gonna see Luke Harper love Bray Wyatt so much that he's probably gonna try to turn on Randy, or do stuff to Randy. But in the meantime, Randy's trying to drive a wedge between him and Bray so he could get Bray alone, I guess, and then do what he got to do to get his revenge on Bray. I think something like that is going on.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, why does Randy need to get revenge on Bray? I mean, I just don't want them to do. See, what I thought they were going to do. I thought they were going to do the Daniel Bryan thing, where Randy's in the Wyatts for 2 weeks and then turns on Bray. But we see they haven't done that. So like I said, maybe like a mini 2-man power trip, or rated RKO. They fit well, because Randy can go there, and play that crazy kind of psychopath character, and we know that's what Bray is all about. So
I thought they were going to do the Daniel Bryan thing too, but I guess this is a long con. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not going to give my pick on who wins. But it's just a whole lot of questions, and I'm interested in seeing the match just to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So they got that going. We have Kalisto versus Baron Corbin in a chairs match. I guess the chair is supposed to be the equalizer, because Kalisto is so much smaller than Baron Corbin. Are you interested or excited to see this match?
Well, I like Kalisto. I really like Kalisto. So yeah, I enjoy seeing Kalisto, whenever. But I am kind of, because what they want to do with Kalisto. Eventually, they kind of want to make him the next Rey Mysterio. So if he beats Baron Corbin, that's the whole giant killer thing. But and it makes sense, because Baron Corbin came and attacked Kalisto on the pay-per-view, and they did have a feud. So I'm looking forward to it, but I think it might be one of the standout matches, because people hate Baron Corbin. I like Baron Corbin. I'm looking for it to be in a good clash of styles, back and forth between the two. That's one match. Like, if you ask me to pick a winner, I'll be just grasping that straw, because I have no idea what they're going to do with that result. So,
well, I'm glad Baron Corbin has one fan between the two of us, because, while I'm loving what the WWE is doing with Braun Strowman over on Raw, Baron Corbin is still not, lighting my fire in any way. Pause. But I guess that this is just to give Kalisto some kind of equalizer.
mm-hmm.
I don't know why they felt the need that this needed chairs other than that. And I'm just like, I guess because the pay-per-view is called TLC, they had to get a chairs match. So here, let's just randomly get these two guys a chair. I mean,
because I was when I first heard it was a chairs match, I was confused because I know we've had chairs matches in the past, but it's kind of like, what's the purpose of a chairs match? You know, but I guess that chair to be the equalizer. So I mean,
when he came out and cost Kalisto the title, did he use a chair? I'm trying to remember. Did he use a chair?
Oh man, did he?
Because that would be the only reason why I would say, okay, you know what? They're going to make this a chairs match because he came out and for some reason grabbed the chair and hit Kalisto with it. So, you know, a chair cost Kalisto this title and this bigger paycheck. So these guys are going to have this chair be involved in their feud. If that wasn't the case, I don't understand why they just suddenly decided, okay, here, boom, chair. So if the pay-per-view was called Tables, Ladders, and Honey Badgers, would this be a Honey Badger match? It doesn't make much sense to me for that regard. And the fact that I don't care about Baron Corbin and I don't necessarily care about Kalisto right now, I was hoping that he would be over on Raw so he could be in the cruiserweights. I'm not really excited for this chairs match anyway. I would probably be out of my chair during this match in the kitchen somewhere.
Hopefully this is the match that leads off the show. Just because, you look at all the other matches, it's like that's the one match out of all of them that should lead off the show. Other than unless you want to lead with the IC title match.
I don't know if they do that. I mean, they kept talking about how that their retirement angle match should have been the main event. I doubt they make this match, which is probably the final match in their chapter right now, be the first match.
Right.
But we'll go right there right now. So we have The Miz versus Dolph in that ladder match, and John's already thinking that Maurice is going to climb the ladder and get the title for The Miz, much like she did back in 2010 for, I think he said it was Ted, as in Ted DiBiase Jr.
Yeah, I guess.
So I just stated that I don't think this match leads off the show. I don't think it's the main event either. Because they're probably going to go with AJ and Dean, but
I do think this match is going to be the best match on the card, and that's no slight against AJ and Dean. I just think that the chemistry that Miz and Dolph have, and the fact that they've put on quality matches already, just adding the ladder to this match is just because we've seen both of them, perform well in ladders matches. So just adding the ladder to that is, I think just going to make it, it's going to raise, the stakes are already raised pretty high, but I just think it's going to add to the wow factor of the match, I guess.
Yeah, I'm all for The Miz. I'm all for seeing The Miz hold the title. I was not happy when he lost the title.
Neither was I.
In the first place. So here, I'm hoping that this match does deliver, as these two have delivered throughout their feud. But I'm just hoping that The Miz retains this title somehow, by hook or by crook.
Miz has been the best heel in WWE all year. Kevin Owens has been good, but Miz has been, when it comes to like heel work, Miz has been the best all year, and I appreciate that because so many people hate The Miz. They still think, he's,
Mike Mizanin from the real world.
Yeah, and they don't realize, and they don't respect the amount of work that Miz has put into getting better, to developing this character. Nobody talks better than him in the E right now. I just think, this has probably been the best year of Miz's career. And I'm looking forward to him keeping the IC title. And I'll be honest, I hope he's AJ's next opponent.
I'm surprised Darius hasn't done a match, not a match, but an article showcasing the timeline of The Miz, of his bumbling days to his currently great work. Um, I'm also surprised that you said that he's been the best heel all year. I thought that, because of how you guys are on the show, that, all praises always go to Charlotte, but.
Charlotte, who pulled off another impeccable moonsault this week, I might add. Even though she almost missed Sasha, but I mean the form, coming on, and the fact that she did it off the announce table to the floor just made it even better. I mean, impeccable moonsault work by Charlotte.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah. My wife she was actually watching that match. She after that she was like, I could do that. She never attempted, but at least she was interested in the match to offer that little tidbit. All right, so let's move on to the ladies. We've got 2 female matches on this show, as we stated earlier, that Smackdown, showcases their ladies in matches other than for the women's title. So first we've got the match that is not for a title, but it's all about for respect. Mm-hmm. We've got a no disqualification match between Nikki Bella and Carmella. It's a rhyming affair. What do you think about these two? I'm thinking that this is the final match between these two as well. But what are you thinking with these ladies?
I think it's going to be the final match between these two, and I've been enjoying because they have, a lot of times you see the ladies, and the ladies don't really have chemistry. These two have a very good chemistry. With Nikki being the old vet and Carmella being the young upstart who doesn't respect the old vet and just wants to come in and just crap all over her territory. And she looks fantastic, by the way. She looks fabulous. Carmella, but I'm a fan of Carmella. But I'm looking forward to a good match. I think it might be short, but I think it's going to be really like a brawl, and it's going to be weird to see, sort of a brawl with a bigger woman and then a relatively smaller woman. Because if you look at, say contrast with Charlotte and Sasha, even though they have had brawling, elements to a few of their matches, they've never really had like a straight up brawl. But I think we've been seeing with the fact that Carmella's been attacking Nikki, from behind, and then Nikki's been kind of getting some get back like she did last night. I think their match is going to be a straight up brawl. Not going to spoil who I pick, but I think that match is going to be a straight up brawl because, like I said, I like the chemistry between the two. I like how well they play off of each other.
So this was another match or another segment that I was watching where the wifey was sitting beside me, and it was funny. We're watching SmackDown last night, and Carmella is in the ring talking about how she's gonna beat up Nikki to the point where John won't.
Oh, I like that. I really like that.
And she's saying all this stuff, and then suddenly the announcer is like, you should know better than to talk about another woman's man and everything. And my wife was like, but she never spoke about the man. She was saying how the woman is not going to get married. She's not bad-mouthing the man. So I'm just like, it's just something how guys are going to get one thing from a certain segment and the ladies are going to get something else. She didn't care about the fighting and everything. She's like, whoa, what the hell is he talking about? What? She ain't saying nothing about the man. She don't care about these two fighting each other. She was just like, that was stupid by the announcer. But yeah, I've been enjoying this. This feud has been better than Carmella's mood walking, but that isn't difficult. It's been interesting and entertaining enough. And Nikki has improved in the ring so that she is somebody who can carry this match because Carmella still has some work to do.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that it's no disqualification, so that can mask any ineptitude by the women involved.
Right.
So, I'm looking forward to this match. I doubt John Cena is going to interfere. And, maybe John is secretly rooting for Carmella because if Nikki gets beaten up so badly, he won't have to hear her ask him to get married. So, that's my views on that match. Which brings us now to the women's title match between Becky Lynch and Darius's and my favorite Alexa Bliss in a tables match. First of all, how did you like their confrontation last night?
I liked the confrontation. I thought it. At first, I thought it was like a little too long. I like the fact that that man and Becky was looking good last night, by the way. But I'm a fan of both of those young ladies. Alexa Bliss. Now I read. I'm trying to remember what site I went to, but the website pretty much said that Alexa Bliss has been the steal of the draft. I saw her a couple times in NXT. I really didn't, think nothing of her, but she has done some great work with Becky. She's a very good heel. She can talk, which a lot of the women can't. I like her character. I like the Harley Quinn stuff. I'm looking forward. I don't think Bex is going to drop the belt, but I'm looking for a really good match.
Yeah, Alexa's mic work has been, her greatest attribute, other than her awesome little petite and good-looking frame. Her mic skills have been the star for her. Her in-ring work is getting there. It's not bad whatsoever. We're not talking about Liv Morgan or anything like that. She's competent, and her attitude and her mic work makes up for anything that she's lacking. And it's made this feud, interesting and engaging. And she has a qual. She was on that rope, and the ref did not see. So usually you have the bad guys saying stuff that only makes sense to them. Here she has a legit case.
Yep.
So that adds to this rivalry. I'm not sure how the WWE goes when it comes to this match. But all I'm hoping is that since it's a tables match now, that we don't see something a la John Cena and Sheamus when Sheamus won his first title. I still remember it. We were on the radio, and John was on the show that time. And I was just laughing it off that Sheamus would win the title against John Cena in this tables match, and then Cena slips and falls through the table, and I was forever pissed off, and that has scarred my thoughts on table matches since. So hopefully it doesn't go that route.
Speaking of Sheamus, I enjoyed that segment between him and Cesaro on Monday, the bar segment. I will say that.
And there were a lot of cameos in there. If you're an indie wrestling fan, that was Steve Corino's wrestling company. Those guys and ladies were making a little cameo there. Tessa Blanchard and I think Sue Young were in there, and the guys I'm not really familiar with. But that brings us now to the main event, possibly, and the guy who makes you sick. Indeed, Ambrose, him and AJ Styles in the table, ladders, and chairs match. As I've been bringing up it seems with almost all of these matches, does this end the feud between AJ and Dean?
I hope it does end the feud, just because I think it's time that we just see some refreshing. You see Raw is refreshing their title picture and moving Reigns to the title picture while also moving Rollins and Jericho to what it looks like, their own little thing. And Dean and AJ have been feuding since, the draft. So I think it's time that we separate them just to kind of freshen things up a bit. Replace Dean with who? I don't know. Where's Apollo Crews been? He's kind of been MIA. I know that's just a random aside and has nothing to do, but I don't know who, especially if Bray and Randy win the titles on Sunday. I don't know who they would move in Dean's spot, because SmackDown doesn't have another pay-per-view until Rumble. Even though that's a joint pay-per-view, but that's the next time we'll see, a SmackDown PBV. So I don't know who you would move into the title picture, and to replace Dean, but I think it should be done just to refresh it.
Well, my thing with this feud has been with the inclusion of James Ellsworth. It's kind of like SmackDown and Raw are so similar in the fact of their main event top title picture, where you have one guy feuding, the champ feuding with a challenger, but there's a third party involved. On Raw, you have Kevin Owens, and he was feuding with Seth Rollins, but Chris Jericho was there as Kevin's second. And over on SmackDown, you have AJ Styles, who's the champ, feuding with Dean Ambrose, and James Ellsworth is Dean's second. So it's kind of like how we've always watched SmackDown, where it's the more wrestling-based show, and it still is, but it was always somewhat showing something different compared to Raw. Yet in the main event picture, we see this stark similarity between the two.
Right.
I find that funny, and I'm hoping that it ends on Sunday, and this is the final time that we see these two guys go after each other, and we move somebody into the mix to go against AJ Styles now.
But it's almost like, what do you do with Dean if you move him? Because I guess they have kind of a conundrum, because it's like, what do you do with Dean if he's moved out of the title picture?
I don't know.
I really don't care, because I'm not a Dean fan, but it's like, what do you do with him? Because he is, I guess, your top babyface, on the show. So,
I mean, there's John Cena.
But we don't know when Cena's coming back.
Well, and you brought up the fact that there won't be another pay-per-view for SmackDown, for a while. So what you'll probably see, if anything, if we do get any other title matches between these two, not between these two, but between AJ, it's probably just like a one-off with somebody, on the show itself. Or for all we know, James Ellsworth gets his title shot, at one of these weeks between TLC and the Royal Rumble. But, I don't know who else they would throw in the mix other than John Cena, because there are no other big baby faces, because Randy Orton is currently siding with Bray Wyatt. And right. Dolph Ziggler, I don't think you're going to have Dolph Ziggler go from possibly losing against The Miz to, okay, you got a title shot next week for the world title. I mean, the WWE has done that in the past, but I just don't see it.
And it's funny because it seems like, I want to say they've done that with Ziggler in the past.
They had. I think it was like reverse though. Like he might have lost a world title shot, but then he was thrown right into the mid card title. But I could be wrong because he's always around the mid card title and he's always sniffed the world title. So I don't know. And they also have Jack Swagger. I mean, he's a baby face. You know, maybe he finds a way to get a random title shot between the next pay-per-view. I don't know. I really don't. But all I know is I'm hoping that we get closure with some of these matches. Yes. I like a TLC match to be a chapter closing match.
Right. So I mean, and I think they're going to put on a good match, because you know, for all you can say about Dean, they have put on some pretty cool matches, and because Dean's a good worker, I just, you know, it's his character that I don't like. It's not, you know, his work or, you know, his moveset, or even though I hate that clothesline through the ropes, I think it's the most telegraphed, you know, move in all of wrestling. But somehow he still gets away with it every single match he has. But, you know, it's just, you know, I just want something different from these guys, you know, for these guys. So
scientifically, I don't believe his clothesline adds any momentum. The bouncing off the rope there adds any momentum to his clothesline. I think scientifically. I haven't tried it, but based on what I'm looking at, I'm just not seeing any added momentum, so I don't see the point of it. It's stupid. I agree with you. Hot Dog brought up that they could put Dean versus The Miz. You know?
Yeah, and I was actually going to say that because, you know, it's kind of like what they did with Roman. Roman was, you know, vying for the main title, and then they dropped him down, and he ended up winning the U.S. title. So, and now he's back in the title picture. So,
well, we ran through the card, and if you are listening to this in the archive somewhere, whether it is iTunes, Google Play, Podcast, Podmatic, or Stitcher, wherever it is that you listen to your podcast shows, if you have been following us and you've been doing your pay-per-view predictions with us to win your $50 WWE Shop gift card, please make sure you find us on Twitter or Facebook and post your predictions for who wins these matches on TLC. I would make sure that you hang around just in case they throw a last-minute pre-show match, so you can get your picks in for those. The WWE is good at suddenly adding a pre-show match at the last minute, and nobody knows about it.
Now, I tend to forget the pre-show match in my picks every time. So,
well, you know, you weren't meant to win anyway, Max, so it's okay.
That's true.
So make sure you go ahead and do that. We're going to end the show here tonight, the final show of November. We will be on the air Sunday for the TLC. Darius will be on the host seat. Who will be joining him? We do not know. It could be me. It could be Stokes. It could be you in the HTR universe. You know, we've had the Wrestling with Friends for the Survivor Series. We might call on you to join us. So just stay tuned to all of that. My name is Shane Howard. You can find Hit the Ropes on Twitter at Hit the Ropes. You can find me at SHANE, the numbers 184. And don't forget to check out hittheropesradio.com. Find us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And Mac, what about you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at BlackDad_Court. You can find me on Instagram at BlackDadChronicles, all one word. That's just the title of my blog. And I'll be featuring, our two of my Hit the Ropes compadres on the blog coming up within the next week, both Shane and Darius, allowing me to tell their story. So I thank them for that. But yeah, that's where you can find me. All my social media. And then, Facebook is just my name. Google Plus is just my name. But I'm on Twitter and Instagram basically 100% of the time. And then, don't forget www.hittheropesradio.com.
All right, everybody. We thank you for listening live, or we thank you for listening in the archives. Have a great night. We're out.
Peace.